Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we are working in our cash payments journal. Our cash payments journal is used to record payments on cash. I don't know another way to say that without using the term over again. If cash goes down, it goes in that journal. What's our source document for that journal? Check. Okay? So, cash being credited goes in our cash payments journal. So we learned about a couple different transactions on Tuesday, and it was actually probably one of the times most recently that I actually made you think and learn something new in accounting. Because the purchases journal, that was pretty slick, like, okay, record merchandise bought on an account goes in your purchases journal. When we know everything that goes in your cash payments journal is going to be what you do when cash goes down. But there's a couple different phrases that we used. We had where we could use a purchases discount. And these were our numbers. And again, remember, this means 210, net 30. I get a 2% discount if I pay within 10 days. Otherwise, all of it's due in 30. 5% discount if I pay in 7 days. Otherwise, all of it's due in 17. 410, net 20. So when we are in charge of accounts payable meaning we are going to go through and pay off what we owe, we watch those terms because it saves us money if we pay within that discount period of 10 days, 7 days, or 12 days. If we pay within that discount period, we have to use that purchases discount column. Now, the other thing we dealt with was a trade discount. And a trade discount is like when you go to Kohl's and you walk up to the rack and it's 70% off. Does Kohl's care? Do you have to pay what the original invoice was and then they give you cash back? No, you just record what it was when it's on sale. So if you think of a trade discount as it being on sale, that's going to be the easiest way you remember it, and you're not going to put anything in purchases discount. Then we went through and record our payments on an account. Remember that our cash payments journal has a special column now called accounts payable. So instead of writing accounts payable Don's, I just write Don's, and it goes where? Accounts payable column. Most common mistake that I see is students know that they don't have to write accounts payable because aptly it doesn't automatically pop up accounts payable, and then they put it in the general column instead of on the accounts payable column. So what are we doing here in 3? Well, we're going to total improve our journal, bring it forward to the top of the next page, and then we're going to do replenish our petty cash. Now, we've replenished petty cash before, so that is not new. What we have here is we have a petty cash report, and we have the fact that sometimes boo-boos happen. Don't you hate boo-boos? So here's my example of a boo-boo. So I take 20 bucks, put it in my pocket. I take the mail, go to the post office. Okay? They give me a receipt. They give me my change. I put that in my pocket. I go back to work. In my petty cash box, I take the receipt and the change out of my pocket, and I put it in the box. Is it possible that I missed some change in my pocket? Is it possible that the post office didn't give me the right change? Or that I accidentally had extra change in my pocket that I put it in there? Is that life? Yes. We have to account for life happens, and we're going to have something called cash short and over. This is a new account. It is an expense account, but it does not have the word expense after it. Okay. So if you hear that you are cash short, what would that mean to you? Do you have more or less cash than what you're supposed to? Less. So if you have less cash than what you were supposed to, isn't that like an expense? Would you agree? So if you are short, you would have to debit that account. If you were over, cash over, would that mean you have more or less money than you're supposed to? More. So that is going to be a revenue. Now, if you ever worked at a cash register, oftentimes at the end of a shift, people have to go through and prove their till. Has anyone ever had to do that at their work? You do. And you have to go through what happens if you're short or over. You just blame it on the change? Now, what happens, though, is employers will watch that because the cash register will tell you how much cash they're supposed to have. Exactly. And if a person is perpetually short, what might they be concerned about? Stealing, exactly. Theft. Now, there's lots of different ways thefts can occur. Has anyone ever been to Fleet Farm?
Yes.
Okay, so Fleet Farm has lots of aisles. Would you agree? So if I'm checking out in this aisle, and right here is where I put my items, right? Is there another checkout lane right here? And this is where the customer is. And when they have the cash drawer open, could I, as a customer on the other lane, reach over and grab the cash? All of you are like, Mrs. Grassley, you're a genius. But actually, if you look at how it's set up, wherever the cash drawer comes out, there's always like counter built into it, so it's not possible for a customer to reach around quickly and grab something when the cash drawer is open. Because think about it, if I am checking people out, cash register's open, oftentimes I grab my change and I turn and give the cash to my customer, right? Can I see what's happening behind me? No. So they actually design cash registers to try to protect that area so that can't happen, so customers can't put their hands into the till. But it could happen. Or you punch in the wrong number, you give them the wrong change. All of that life happens. So we have to account for life with that account cash short and over. It's going to have an account number, like an expense, and you will either debit it or credit it depending on if you were short or over. Sound good? That's 9-3. We're out of here at 05. We'll see how much we can get done today. Okay, so we're going to rule page 5 of our cash payments journal using March 27th of the current year. How do I know it's going to be March 27th? Besides that it said it in the directions. It's the last transaction that was done. So I'm going to put the date of the 27th. What goes in my account title? Carried forward goes on the bottom. Brought goes on the top. Now, this is my way of remembering it because I think it's confusing because I could say brought would be on the bottom and carried would be on the top. So I remember it's not alphabetical order. C is before, like, normally it's B, C, but I'm like, okay, it's not alphabetical order, it's got to be the opposite way. C is on the bottom, B is on the top. I don't know. Now, we also need to put a check mark in the post reference to say, I'm not posting these numbers. They don't go anywhere. But if I leave it blank, it looks like I forgot to do something. Okay, now on page 6, we have to carry these numbers forward. Bring those numbers forward. See, I always say it wrong. So we have the month is March. Date is the 27th. On the top of the page, we write brought forward. And we also put a check mark in the post reference to say, I don't need to post it, and I didn't forget to do it. Don't forget you have cents. If you're really good at the 10-key calculator, you should be done with it by now. I'm done. Mine are entered in. So when I am doing accounting, I never use the numbers on top of the keyboard. I always use the 10 keypad. It is much more efficient. The 10 keypad has a home row just like your keyboard. Your 10-key home row is 4, 5, 6. That's where your fingers sit, and they reach up or they reach down. Nope. Nope. 3. 4 reaches up to 7 or down to 1. Okay, that is how you total at the bottom of the page, bring it forward to the top. Now, they didn't have us do the math because we're missing some columns. So, now we're to instruction 3. It says, Kevin Tomlinson is the custodian of a $200 petty cash account. On March 31st, he had receipts of the following total payments. Supplies office, $45.23. Supplies store, $66.18. Miscellaneous, $49.25. And a cash count shows that we have $40.59 in the petty cash box. So, here is where we have to figure it out. So, on our petty cash report, the date is March 31st. Custodian, Kevin Tomlinson. Our fund total is $200. They gave us that in the directions. Now, per the directions, we have supplies office of $45.23. store for $66.18, and miscellaneous of $49.25. Now, take out your handy-dandy little calculator and you add them up. I'm sure we do. I concur. I'm with you. Okay, now do you see this little symbol? It looks like an arrow right here. So the only thing that you do is take this number and put it there. Okay? Now, be aware of this column. Notice it says fund total less total payments equals, so what do we have to do here? Subtract. So we're going to take 200 minus 160.66 that Caden said was our number for it. And what do we get? 39.34. Now, right here, it says the actual amount on hand. So really, what we've done right here is we had 200 to start with. According to our receipts, we spent $166.66. $160.66. So, what should we have left over in our cash box? $39.34. What do we actually have left over? Are we over or short? We are over. Would you agree? Because look at what we actually have on hand is bigger than what it's supposed to be. So the difference between the two is my cash short and over. But I want you to notice right here, over is in what? So with this, if it is an over number, you have to put it in parentheses. $1.25. Okay, this is the reason why we calculate this. How much cash do we always want to have on hand in the petty cash box? $200. You're right. We always want to have 200 because that is what it starts at the top of our fund total. If I were to write a check out to replenish petty cash for $160.66, I would have more than $200 in my cash box. Does that make sense? So, right here, whatever number is here also goes here. That's what this symbol means, carry it over. So, I also need to put it in parentheses. Now, we are assuming parentheses in math means to subtract, okay? So I'm going to take 160.66 and subtract 125. So how much am I going to make my check out for? 41. I typed 47. I did type it wrong. Now, I had to do all of that work to figure out how to journalize it. That's our petty cash report. This tends to be the hardest part of this chapter because it's brand new. Let's journalize this. What is the date of our transaction? 27. Nope. Where'd you find that? Right here. You typed it already. You said date was the 31st. What's my first account? Supplies office. Source document is C536. I'm going to debit that for $45.23. Then I'm going to do supply store. I'm not doing my cash yet because I want you to think about that. I'm going to do my miscellaneous expense. Okay, so I have supplies office, supplies stores, miscellaneous expense, and my last account is cash short and over. How do I know it's cash short and over? Because that's what it says right here, cash short and over. Okay. You have a 50-50 guess on this. Ready? Okay. Cash short and over, debit or a credit?
Credit.
Why? It is. It's like a revenue. We have extra money. So this 125 has to go as a credit. If it was a short, it would go as a debit. Now, my debits and credits do not equal. Why? Oh, it's not. Life is not good unless your debits and credits equal. What am I missing? My cash. You got it, Dorn. What is my cash?
45.22.
Nope. 159.41. Cash credit line 2.
Cash credit line 2.
Yes. Don't forget your cash credit. Now, the amount of cash always goes on the first line when we journalize our petty cash refund. Replenish our petty cash fund. Okay? Now, what goes here on line 6? Total. Do the 31st. Then we're going to say totals instead of total because we have more than one number. I'm doing the easy ones first for totaling up, which would be your accounts payable and your purchases. Once I've totaled in your journal, then you go on the very bottom and prove your totals. Ooh, I got a winner. I thought I added a little bit too fast. That is section 9.3. Make sure that you have the work together portion done before you leave today. We are out of here at 05, so you have about a minute and a half for the work together portion. Don't forget, this is set up as a practice one, so it's going to be, say, I think it's due today, I think 12:30 I said, or 11, I don't remember what time I put. But don't worry about it because it's a practice one. We'll open it up tomorrow and we'll continue together to make sure we have time. So nothing else that you need to do. Just make sure you have the work together done, and then we'll do this together tomorrow.